This was considered to be an experiment because they did not know if black people would want to come and read books. And they found out like, ooh, they like really want to come in here. They really want to do all these things.
Natalie Woods is working to preserve the history of Louisville's Western Library, a place that helped lay the foundation of black librarianship in the U.S.
That's where that cornerstone is, where it used to say colored branch.
Founded in 1905 in segregated Louisville, Western was one of the first public libraries in America run by and for black people, and the earliest training ground of black librarians from around the South.
I have been the branch manager at Western for just a little over 8 years now. Western wasn't talked about a whole lot, so it could be very easily forgotten. I've brought back tours to share this history and get people to come in, as well as trying to digitize and preserve the history that is in the archives. These are some of his handwritten original notes. This is an age of reading.
These notes were written by Western's first manager, Reverend Thomas Fountain Blue, a skilled administrator dedicated to his community. He ran Western so successfully that a second colored library was opened in Louisville in 1914, which he also ran.
Western Library was a laboratory for how to create a library that could serve readers in the community and could serve as a cultural and intellectual center for the city. Thomas Blue also trained some of the early black librarians who would themselves create libraries in the South, because Western Library was the only place in the South that trained black librarians.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
For decades, Blue laid in an unmarked grave in Louisville's Eastern Cemetery, until Woods had a headstone installed in 2022.
He paved the way for me to do what I'm doing, laid that groundwork for African Americans in the library field, period.
Woods grew up in Louisville, but did not learn about Western's history until she started working at a different library in the city. Then, in 2008, the legacy of Thomas Fountain Blue had a decisive impact on her life.
An incident occurred where I lost the vision in my left eye. It was a big pivotal point because I was still in college at the time, and I had to decide whether I really wanted to take that next step and go for my master's degree in library science. One day I was sitting at my desk and my supervisor brought me a folder of papers. She asked me if I could transcribe them.
They were the papers of Thomas Fountain Blue.
This is one of the documents that I was given to transcribe. That's why I'm so familiar with what he wrote. Circulation methods in library work. Circulation. As I was looking over what he had written, I realized how far ahead of his time he was. And I figured if he could do that then I could push through. It reignited that fire in me to want to go to library school and to go.
Woods completed her library degree and became Western's manager in 2016.
When I first got here, we didn't know everything that was in the archives. There was no index. There was no digitizing. There was none of that stuff taking place. They granted me a $70,000 grant so that I could start creating the digitization lab that we have now. That's been a huge passion of mine to make sure this stuff is preserved. I'm going to show you one that's from 1911.
Here, Woods is showing students from Louisville Central High School an old diploma from their school, whose former principal helped found Western.
Western is we're like this with Central. We're very connected. There's so much history that's right here. It is now your assignment to make sure it's not forgotten.
I know the place, but I never knew the full history. I've been walking up and down the streets and just never knew that there were so many things that happened here in the past.
Which is really cool that we have so much history that's so close. American history that a lot of people don't know about.
It is important to protect the legacy and the history of this branch. So that is my job that I'm determined to do.